Mr. Eli Roth, give it up.
Thank you.
Hi, Eli. It's a great movie,
Hello.
and the
Thank
look
you.
is beautiful. I want to ask a technical question.
Sure.
Did you know what camera you wanted to use, and what camera did you use, and certain lenses? Because it's gorgeous.
Thank you, and that's a great question. How many people here are filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers, just out of curiosity? Okay, cool. This I learned a very interesting lesson on this movie, that you got to listen to the generation younger than you. Because Lopez, even though he looks 10 years older than me, is actually 11 years younger than me, and I make fun of him every day about that. He was the one who told me, he's like, dude, film. And I'm like, okay, I know, Arri, Alexa, all these cameras, the red camera. He's like, dude, I shot Cape Hana on a 7D. I blew it up to 35 millimeter. I put it out in 30 cinemas, and it made more money than Social Network, which is on triple the amount of, it's on like 100 screens, which is a wide release for Chile. And I was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, but can't you tell? And, you know, the Vista, the emulsion. He's like, dude, that stupid film school bullshit, you f***ing old man. He's like, my sister's 12. She watches everything on her f***ing iPad. She doesn't give a f*** what it was shot on. She just wants to watch a story. I said, okay, fair enough. And then he goes, but dude, think of it this way. Like, your movie is a massive hit in theaters. And in 3 weeks, another movie's just knocked it out. In a best case scenario, like a massive, massive hit is #1 2 weeks in a row. And you're like, in 17 days, you're on an iPad, whether you like it or not. So he's like, why not bypass all that bull? And so I went down to Chile and we started playing around with the Canon 5D Mark II. That is an SLR photographic camera. And Nico, his movie, Cape Hana, was the first movie that was shot on a 7D that he released theatrically, and nobody could tell. So, I mean, could any of you tell that we shot this on an SLR camera? I mean, we put like Zeiss lenses on it. We put beautiful lenses on it. And Nico's really smart. He took the camera, a 5D, put a Zeiss lens on it, and strapped it to a remote control helicopter, like a drone, and we ran it over Valparaiso. And then it was a little bumpy, and he put it through motion stabilizing software, and it looked like frickin' Spider-Man footage. It looked incredible. It was like perfect helicopter footage. Like the beginning at the Vineyard, we wanted to show the scope. We made this movie for $2 million. Could any of you tell?
Wow.
Wow.
$2 million.
With such good effects.
With huge effects, and that's Chilewood. That's Nick. We did 90. It's not. I mean, obviously the ending, the last shot of the movie is CG, and there's a couple of like maybe one or two others, but pretty much 98 or 99% of the movie is practical effects. Wow. And the way we did it, like we built the stuff that you could get one take, and you set up 5 cameras, and you shoot and close your eyes and hope nobody dies. But we shot. The thing about those Canon, those Canon cameras, I was so impressed with it. I got the new Canon film camera, the C300. And that's what I used to shoot The Green Inferno, my new movie. And I shot my first episode of Hemlock Grove on it, and then they wanted to switch to the Alexa because they were like, everyone's so scared to not use it. But literally, you're taking footage. I mean, he shot his movie, Cape Hana, in 11 days in 38 locations. He's walking in, pointing, shooting, leaving, and putting it up, and nobody noticed. And we've realized, like, what's cool about shooting in Chile is you don't know any different. You don't know, like, on Aftershock, this entire movie, the entire film, we had 6 little lights. That's how we lit the film. 6 lights that could literally fit in the back of a car.
That's like totally guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, we ordered these lights from China that were $100 each. It was completely guerrilla filmmaking. We went into locations, we smashed stuff, we'd go into the cemetery, put a light there, done. Those Canons pick up such incredible light. And Lopez, he keeps going, F everybody, like, F this bullshit. And what it made the investors nervous because they showed up on set and here's this little dinky camera and they're like, whoa, why are we spending $2 million? Don't we need a real camera? And he's like, dude, you don't need a real camera. This is a real camera. You need to know how to photograph. I mean, you think like anybody can buy a guitar if there's only one Jimi Hendrix, there's only one, Jimmy Page. Like you don't like it's all how you use it and what you do with it, or what you do with that tool. So there really are no more excuses. If you take a 5D and like there's a way to adjust the shutter speed so you don't have that strobing. And then the 5D Mark III came out, which is even better, which like blows away this is an old camera that we shot on. It's already now so much better than that. And we've become like, I don't know if there's some people from Canon here tonight. I invited them to see it, but if they're going to see it tomorrow. Yeah, so there you go, the Canon 5D. Now Canon has made new film lenses that I used on Green Inferno and photographic lenses, and it looks unreal. Like you're shooting at high def resolution. But what's so cool is you don't need to light it. It picks up, you have to like take out zits. Like it gets every freaking part. We had to do like a full pimple pass on the movie, so we didn't look like teenagers. But we could never have shot this movie if we weren't running around shooting it with SLR cameras. And not only did we shoot it this way, we wanted to try and release it in a different way. And that's why we talked to Radius about doing an everywhere release. We're like, look, I kind of looked at Man with the Iron Fist, and they're like, okay, they spent, the movie made $15 million, which is fine. It's a weird movie. It's a kung fu movie. I'm very proud of it, but that's what the audience for that movie was. And then I saw 3 weeks later the statistics on Pirate Bay or the torrent sites, and they put out how many torrents, and it was #2 most pirated movie in the world.
Wow. Right
after Dark Knight and ahead of Born Supremacy. And I thought, obviously the demand to see the movie was there. People just didn't want to pay to see it. But maybe if that movie had been available on iTunes and on demand, if 1/10 of those people had a conscience and said, F it, let's pay and get a perfect copy of it and not have to get a pirated thing and download it and see it, let's just pay the money, support the filmmakers and do it, we probably would have made enough money to the movie made its money back, but it didn't really make profits. If that movie made a lot of profits, it's because it's doing huge on Blu-ray and DVD, there'd be a sequel. So we thought, do we want to spend, and then I looked at even Last Exorcism 2, which makes $15 million, but they spend $20 million releasing it. So it's basically this weird exercise where you're making your money back. And we thought there's got to be a smarter way to do this. Because it's not even the movie. It's like you get crushed by everyone's. Look at Gatsby. I'm not going to compete with Gatsby. Gatsby cost $150 million, so they're going to spend $100 million. I don't know this for sure. I mean, they could spend a minimum $60 million advertising. And there's billboards and Times Squares and everything. And that's what you have to do to release a movie of that scale. But my fans are on Twitter. My fans are on the websites. The horror fans are aware this movie's out there. So let's spend, I don't know, why don't we try spending $200,000 or $500,000 releasing it, put it in 100 cinemas at midnight, at 9 o'clock, right now, at 9 o'clock, it goes on iTunes and on demand. We'll see. If it works, it's a great release. It's a great release model. So Dimension and Radius and everyone is watching this very carefully, going is this a way for a movie like Aftershock, which is a weird movie, which does not necessarily have a happy ending, where horrible things happen and characters betray you in terrible ways. But that's what I love about it, is that it's so bizarre. And then there's a completely unnecessary Russell Dazzle dance sequence, only for him to get his legs crushed 5 minutes later. That scene went on and on and on. I made Nico please cut it down. It's too much. You can't even really dance. We just love the absurdity of at 30 minutes into the movie, when you're waiting for this earthquake, this other character, and the audience why are we watching this guy? Are we now supposed to invest in him? Who is this? But you also kind of feel like Gringo. I wanted the audience to feel wait a minute, stop. I want to get back to this story. Wait, why is this guy here? It's completely the audience gets frustrated in the same way that Gringo does, and then he just gets crushed by the speakers, which I find hilarious. Poor Russell Dazzle. He just thought he was going to do his dance routine. He got killed.
This movie's really rich in cast, though. I mean, you've got Mrs. Martinez with her gun. She was a hard ass. And you've got
Paz. She's
Dazzle.
amazing. She's a huge star in Chile. She's a Paz Bacuna. She's in the Cape Panda movie. She's fantastic. And she was 8 months pregnant. And we were shooting that scene. I remember, she's firing a gun at an actor. And, it's Chilewood, so they don't have the same safety rules. If that was on Bastards, we had the stunt guy, and they're checking. This is a quarter load. A gun is clean. Quarter load firing. Quarter load to check safety. Cut. Prop guy takes the gun. All that stuff. Here, I was like, wait, you're about to shoot that at an actor. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, you know that could, a blank, if you put a blank to your head, it will kill you. It discharges. At the end of Bastards, we had plastic all over our faces from those. Even just from is that a quarter load or a half load? They're like, I don't know, it's blank. And I go, well, aren't we going to test it out? And Pablo, the 80's like, come here, go, shoot me. And then he just goes, boom. And then Pablo goes, okay, we're good, let's go. Go to camera. And I was like, and they're like, Gringo and his safety laws. That was Chilewood. But yeah, no, we wanted to have lots of little, and what's great about Nico is he's so tuned into, there's such fabulous actors down in Chile and Latin America, like the elevator operator who's eating his sandwich and his things. And, guys, that's what makes a movie, is those little moments where every single character, and the old guy's like, it's he's the father of our DP. And he, at 85, became a huge star because they put him on the sitcom as a wacky neighbor, and he was like his son. Our DP, Antonio Quercia, who's the one who pioneered shooting on the SLRs, he and his brother, Boris Quercia, is a big director down there. And so their dad retired and started doing cameos in their movies and became a big star at in his 80s. So suddenly it's guys like that are what make the movie for me. Just fun little actors that come in. Even Ignacia Aleman, who plays the guide who gets her hair crushed in. I took this entire cast and put them all in Green Inferno. I was so happy. Lorenza Izzo, who plays Kylie, I cast her as Brooke Bluebell in Hemlock Grove. Did you guys see Hemlock Grove? Anyone? Yeah, okay, so
On
she's
Netflix,
the cheerleader who gets the werewolf. That's Kylie. And then I cast her as the lead in Green Inferno. And Ariel Levy plays Ariel, who completely got ripped and like bulked up for Green Inferno. And Pollo was like, oh, I'm going to lose all this weight. He got thin now because he's tired of everyone calling him fat, Zach Galifianakis. So he got in shape. Ignacio's mom. But basically everyone was like, after Aftershock, they're like, if you can learn English, Eli's going to put you in his movie. So they all did. It was great.